Cancer is known as the most emotional sign of the zodiac. Sensitive, intuitive, protective, deeply connected to feelings, memories, and attachment. People say Cancer cries easily, loves deeply, and feels everything more intensely than anyone else. But what almost no one talks about is this. Cancer has one of the strongest emotional armors of all the signs. And most people never even see it. Because Cancer's protection doesn't look like walls. It looks like kindness. It looks like caretaking. It looks like softness. But behind that softness is a defense system built from every moment they felt unsafe expressing their true emotions. Cancer learned early that emotions are powerful. They can create connection, but they can also create rejection. When Cancer opened up and felt dismissed, misunderstood, or abandoned, something shifted. They didn't stop feeling. That was never an option. Instead, they learned to filter what they reveal. They became selective about which emotions are safe to show and which must stay hidden. The world sees their nurturing side, their loyalty, their empathy. What the world doesn't see is how carefully curated that vulnerability really is. Cancer's emotional armor is subtle. It doesn't push people away aggressively. It pulls them in, just not all the way. Cancer will share stories, memories, and even tears. But the deepest fears, the raw insecurities, the parts of them that feel unworthy or afraid of being left, those stay guarded. Cancer protects their inner child fiercely. They will expose surface emotions long before they expose their core wounds. And because they appear so emotionally open, people assume they know everything about them. In reality, they are only seeing what Cancer has decided is safe. In relationships, this armor becomes even more complex. Cancer loves with extraordinary depth. When they choose someone, they imagine a future. They build emotional homes around that person. They invest their time, their energy, their loyalty. But even while loving deeply, there is a quiet vigilance inside them. Cancer is always scanning for signs of emotional instability, a shift in tone, a delayed reply, a subtle distance. These small changes feel enormous to them. And instead of expressing their fear immediately, they often retreat into protection mode. Protection mode doesn't look dramatic. It looks like silence. It looks like emotional withdrawal. It looks like I'm fine when they are not fine at all. Cancer's armor activates the moment they sense potential rejection. They would rather pull back first than risk being abandoned. They would rather appear distant than appear needy. Because for Cancer, needing someone and losing them feels catastrophic. So they protect themselves preemptively. This is why Cancer can sometimes seem moody or unpredictable. It is not instability, it is defense. When they feel safe, they are warm, affectionate, nurturing. When they feel uncertain, they become guarded, quiet, even cold. The shift can be subtle but powerful. And often, the people around them don't understand what triggered it. What they don't realize is that Cancer's emotional world is incredibly sensitive to change. Stability equals safety. Emotional inconsistency equals danger. Cancer also has a habit of absorbing other people's emotions. They walk into a room and immediately sense the atmosphere. They feel tension before words are spoken. They notice sadness hidden behind smiles. Over time, this constant absorption becomes exhausting. But instead of setting boundaries clearly, Cancer often internalizes the emotional weight. They carry it silently. They become the emotional container for everyone else. And when that container becomes too full, they retreat into their shell, not because they don't care, but because they care too much. The shell is Cancer's greatest symbol for a reason. It is both home and armor. It allows them to feel deeply without being completely exposed. But the shell can also become isolating. The more they retreat into it, the harder it becomes for others to reach them. Cancer longs for emotional intimacy, yet fears the vulnerability required to sustain it. They want to be understood without having to explain themselves. They want someone to sense their pain the way they sense everyone else's. One of Cancer's deepest hidden fears is being too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too attached. So they downplay their needs. They convince themselves they can handle everything alone. They overfunction in relationships, taking care of others, so they won't have to confront their own unmet needs. But unmet needs do not disappear. They accumulate quietly, turning into resentment or silent heartbreak. What makes Cancer's armor so powerful is that it is built from love. They protect because they love. They withdraw because they care. They guard their heart because they know how devastating heartbreak feels. But this same armor that keeps them safe can also prevent them from experiencing the depth of connection they crave. When they hide their truest fears, they deny others the opportunity to respond with reassurance and loyalty. The moment Cancer begins to heal is the moment they realize that vulnerability does not guarantee abandonment. Not everyone will misuse their softness. Not everyone will leave. And even if someone does, Cancer is stronger than they believe. Their emotional depth is not weakness, it is resilience. They have survived heartbreak before. They have rebuilt their inner world more times than anyone knows. When Cancer learns to express fear instead of masking it with silence, something transformative happens. Their relationships become more stable, not less. Their partners understand them more clearly. Their emotional world becomes lighter because it is shared instead of carried alone. The armor doesn't need to disappear, just needs to soften. Protection is healthy. Isolation is not. Cancer's greatest strength is not just their ability to love others, it is their ability to feel profoundly. And when that depth is balanced with boundaries and honest communication, they become emotionally unstoppable. Their home is not just a place. It is the safety they create within themselves. If you are a Cancer and you've ever felt like no one truly sees how much you protect your heart, you are not alone. Your armor makes sense. It was built for a reason. But you deserve love that reaches past the shell and honors the softness inside. If this resonated with you, comment Cancer below. Share this with someone who needs to understand the emotional depth behind this sign. And subscribe to continue this series, where we uncover the hidden emotional truths of every zodiac sign.